Before we continue with the analysis, I want to talk to you guys about jerseyfifa.com, the home of all of the greatest football kits. Whether that's the latest home shirts, the latest away shirts, tracksuits, or even retro kits, Jersey FIFA has a bit of everything. There really is something for everyone, so if you are interested, then make sure to use the link in the description down below and head to jerseyfifa.com. Hey guys, welcome back to the AJ Analysis channel, where today, if you're Manchester United fans, it might be time to look away because it was another really disappointing performance, and the problem is it's more of the same. It's an issue which I've been talking about for the whole season, but particularly the past 2-3 months, I would say, particularly in the last few games, in games against Sevilla, in games against Tottenham. There's just certain things that this team can't do, and it is a problem. And once again, it was a massive problem in this game. I thought, De Zerbi set his side up really well, as they always do, but Ten Hag is really being restricted by so many options that he currently has available in his team. And it's a big problem, and like I keep saying, it's going to be a problem until the end of the season, which is the frustrating thing. It feels like now, for United, they just need to secure top 4, get to the end of the season, and then heavily invest in the summer, because there's just so much this squad can't do. However, those are the negatives. We'll come on to that later on in the video. I think tactically, United was set up quite well. I thought Ten Hag had the team set up pretty well to deal with Brighton. Now, of course, it was always going to be a pretty similar game to what we saw in the FA Cup the other week. It was very tight. Brighton had some similar principles in possession, and United the same from a defensive point of view. So Brighton, again, want to initially build in a 2-4 shape like this. And I thought this week, United done a better job with their wingers. In the game again, at Wembley the other week, at times Rashford was caught in this area, allowing the ball to be chipped over to the right back, or the same with Anthony on the other side. In this game, that wasn't really the case because Rashford and Anthony took up a deeper starting position, meaning that the Brighton fullbacks weren't spare. We've then, of course, got Fernandes is going to follow Gilmour in these areas. Fred is on McAllister. Casemiro is on Enciso, a battle which, in this game, I thought Enciso really won. And then Luke Shaw is going to follow Danny Welbeck. We've got Lindelof spare and the fullbacks on the wingers. So it's man for man pretty much all over the pitch. However, there were a few things which United struggled with a bit more in this game than what they did the other week. One of those was the fact that Steele was playing in goal. Now, the other week at Wembley, it was Robert Sanchez, really good ball-playing goalkeeper. Steele, though, is actually just another level of ball-playing goalkeeper. And it really showed in this game. And Brighton were much more keen, I guess, to use Steele in the build-up phase. So Martial was not able to force Brighton to one side. Typically, what you want to do in this system is let Webster get the ball, you kind of curve your run, force it one way, Brighton are now forced this side of the pitch, you can then get your press over and kind of restrict them over into one area. Brighton weren't really letting this happen because when Martial tries to kind of force them one way, Webster just goes back to Steele, back out to Dunk, and then you've got the same problem. So United kind of started off with that problem that they were unable to force Brighton one way as much as what they would like, which allowed Brighton to be much more expansive than what they were at Wembley the other week. And of course, this Brighton team being expansive is a big problem. Now, despite this more expansive approach from Brighton, United were still on top defensively for most of the game. Brighton, of course, had moments, and we'll come on to it. But in general, United still defended really well. I thought Dalot on the winger here done a good job. Wan-Bissaka done well on Matoma. Again, we'll come back to that. One of the problems, though, was, like I said earlier, Enciso kind of getting the better of Casemiro in this area. And I also thought Welbeck done a better job of dropping in. At times, he was dropping into areas so deep that even though Luke Shaw is man marking him and wants to follow him, at times he's dropping so deep that physically Shaw can't get into these areas. And I thought that Welbeck and Enciso done a better job of rotating between the two of them in this game, kind of creating space for the other player. So they done that well. However, in general, United did still defend this structure pretty well. The problem was when it then moved to more of a 2-3 shape, from Brighton's point of view. So they're going to move Estupiñán really narrow from this side, Gilmour's going to be the pivot player, and Caicedo is going to come really narrow from this side. And you're essentially creating a 2-3-4-1 or a 2-3-5, whatever you want to call it. This shape, for me, caused more problems for United. Now, one of the main reasons it caused so many problems for United was because this wasn't a normal 2-3 shape where your fullbacks are slightly tucked in. This was, at times, incredibly narrow fullbacks. Now, of course, this didn't happen all game long. It happens in phases of play. But there were situations where both fullbacks were incredibly narrow. And what this does is it gives Brighton the overload in the middle of the pitch. Because they've got Caicedo, Gilmour, Estupiñán, McAllister and Enciso. Plus also Danny Welbeck dropping in. That's almost 6 players there, up against just a midfield three of United. Now yes, Rashford and Anthony done a decent job of tucking in, but it's still not the same. Brighton really did overload the centre of the pitch well, but also what it's allowed them to do was progress the ball out wide, because of the fact that Rashford and Antony are being dragged into these central areas. It makes it more accessible, really, for Dunk to step forward down this side and play the ball to Mitoma, or Webster to do the same down this side to the winger. And I thought Mitoma in particular got the ball a lot more in this game than what he did at Wembley the other week. And he seemed to have Wan-Bissaka a little bit more hesitant. Wan-Bissaka was a little bit standoffish. Now, still to his credit, Wan-Bissaka did not get beaten once by Mitoma, and every situation he did eventually deal with well, but Mitoma was able to carry the ball up the pitch. And what this allowed was it allowed Brighton to sustain pressure a bit more than what they did at Wembley. And, you know, when you're a good side, you sustain pressure a lot. You do get into good positions, you do create good opportunities because you've got good players on the pitch. However, all in all, whilst I have kind of taken quite a negative approach to this video, United, defensively, I still thought United were quite good. My concern was more on the ball, which we'll come on to in a second. I still thought United defended the game well. The problem was that on the ball they were so bad that the volume of defending was therefore drastically increased. And, you know, you're kind of inviting the pressure, you're inviting set pieces, free kicks, corners. I think actually the free kick, which eventually leads to the penalty, is actually incredibly soft. I don't think it is a free kick. Is it a penalty? Yes, the handball, in my opinion, it is a penalty. But I think the free kick, which leads up to it, is unbelievably soft. So I thought United were not robbed with that, but it was a little bit harsh. However, they invited it onto them, because whilst they were defending well, on the ball they were so poor. Now, for large periods of this game, United's game plan was to go long from the back. Whether they take the goal kick short and then go long, or just go long straight away, that was often the game plan. They didn't seem to back themselves playing through Brighton, which is understandable. But it just creates a problem. In the first half, United were sending the ball long and actually getting on a decent amount of balls and making it a transitional game, where even if they don't win the first contact, they were able to win the second ball in an area like this, or Fred on this side, or Rashford or Antony. And what this meant was that as a result, you can take several Brighton players out of the game, you've gone direct, you've got on the second ball, and now you're in a dangerous position. I thought Rashford had a really good first half, really direct, causing a lot of problems for Caicedo, who we know isn't naturally a right back. And it got United into some good positions, and they should have scored goals. Antony has a good chance, Martial has a good chance. Did Rashford have a decent chance as well? He did. Antony had another chance as well, where another day United put one of those away and probably go on to win the game 1-0. And again, we're talking about a tactical masterclass. But the attackers just didn't deliver in those big moments in the first half, which will be disappointing for Ten Hag, because that was clearly the approach. Play in those moments, those transitions, get a chance, take it, and then defend well. The problem was the attackers didn't take the chances. Then in the second half, there was just a complete drop-off of intensity. Suddenly, Brighton were playing with a bit more intensity to their game. United were now not winning the second ball. And that's where you have a problem. Because now, because of De Gea's restrictions playing the ball out from the back, and the lack of midfielder which can play the ball out from the back, United are going long. But now, they're not winning the first ball, but also with this drop of tempo and intensity in the team, maybe because of fatigue, we don't know. But now you're not winning the second ball. Now the problem you create is you're just giving Brighton the ball time and time again. And in the second half, United did not get out of their half. And I think the best way to kind of summarise the approach of the two teams is to look at the two goalkeepers. This was Jason Steele's pass map from last night. Completing 39 out of 44 passes. Really good pass map, but look how short the passes are. Playing the ball out from the back. What that allows your team to do is gain possession, gain control, gain territory, move up the pitch, and sustain pressure. If we compare that to United, look how much more direct it is. You've got 21 out of 41 passes here, but I'm not even bothered about the amount completed. It's more how direct they are. This is long ball football from United, and you just don't control football matches like that. Because, like I said, what it means, the ball goes long. If you don't win the first ball, if you don't win the second ball, you just give it back to Brighton. And that was the story of the second half. The first half, United actually created some chances. Second half, though, it was just pumped along. Didn't win any balls. Casemiro was no longer winning the balls in midfield. I thought he had another poor game. I'll be honest, he weren't very good. But in general, United just didn't get on the ball. I mean, Rashford, Antony, Martial, can you remember them touching the ball in the second half? I can't particularly. Weghorst comes on, plays 16 minutes, I believe it was, completed one pass out of 4. Just none of the ball for the forwards in the second half. And it comes because you've got a goalkeeper who can't play out from the back. You've got a bit of a makeshift defence at the moment, so it's not entirely comfortable playing the ball out from the back. Casemiro and Fred, who don't particularly want to drop deep, and again play the ball out from the back. Bruno Fernandes, who can be, a bit forceful with his passing at times, going forward too quickly. United just had absolutely no control on this game at all.
And that's why, for me, eventually Brighton deserved the win. Now, yes, it comes from a penalty, so it's kind of a little bit skewed, but still, I thought that they were the better team, simply because the second half, they had complete control, but also a bit of threat with players like Matoma playing well. So, for United, it's another disappointing day. It's another one of those ones where you look at it, and you think, what could Ten Hag have done differently? Not too much. I don't think he could have changed an awful lot in this approach, because I think had he tried to play the ball out from the back, it would have been a recipe for disaster. So, this is what I mean about it just being a weird end to the season now for United. Teams know their weaknesses. They're weaknesses which Ten Hag can't really address because he doesn't have the players which are really good that you can go long to them. He doesn't have a great ball-playing goalkeeper who can send the ball long into an area. He doesn't have a striker who's going to win a header and a midfield who's going to get on the second ball consistently. So he doesn't have that solution. But also he doesn't have the ball-playing goalkeeper, defenders and midfielders to play the ball out from the back. And as a result, it just leads to no control. So it's a problem. It's going to be a problem till the end of the season. Hopefully it will be solved in the summer, but we'll just have to wait and see. Apart from that, in terms of this game, Brighton deserved a win. They were the better team. Bit of luck with the way that they get the penalty, in my opinion. But over the course of 90 minutes, they deserved to win. So, yeah, a bit disappointing. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. What were the problems for United? Do you agree with what I said, or do you think it was something different? What did you make of Brighton's performance? I thought they were good, better than what they were at Wembley, although they still need to sharpen up in attack and make better decisions in the final third. Apart from that, thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, and as always, I will see you in the next one.